was your day, by the way, today?
This is good, man. Man, honestly, this is like I was not expecting this. When you showed me yesterday in class, like the pictures, I was like, oh, he'll just like set up a table or something like that.
Well, there is a table.
There is a table.
Do you have a game today? Am I right? Who are you playing against?
School 146, something like that.
You ready, Paul? Dear audience, my today's guest is Feekins, the member of the high school boys basketball team. There's your camera. Okay. All right. So Bo, this is my second year in KS, and during this time I saw that you have been interviewed like millions of times. So I would like you to list the most asked questions that you're completely tired of answering, so I will cross it out on my list as well.
All right. Most asked question. The most asked question just in general is, how does it feel for your dad to be the coach? So please, any questions about my dad being the soccer coach, just cross those out.
There are no questions about your parents anyway.
All right, then we should be good.
So we're moving. And as far as I know, you're a captain for both basketball and football teams. And let's forget for a moment that you're a humble guy. But what do you think that are the actual reasons that coaches see in you to put you on this reasonable position, responsible position?
I think as a coach at Kyiv International School, you're looking for many qualities in a player, and one of them is just, it's simply being a Kozak. I've been here for 7 years and I've been playing sports for 7 years, and I think one of the reasons that coaches make me the captain, or they choose me as give me the title as captain. I mean, everyone's a leader, everyone has their own role, but I think one of the main reasons is because, I live and breathe Kozak sports. I find it means everything to me,
And for the audience who are not the members of KS community, what does it mean to be a Kozak? It
means everything, like when you go and play and you put on whatever uniform you're putting on, whether it's soccer, basketball, volleyball, you got to give everything. You got to give everything, but you got to accept the underdog role. And there's something about being the underdog, about being the smallest school in CISA, that just makes it that much more, like you get that much more passionate about it, because we're not supposed to be competing with these schools. You got schools of 1,000 kids. They have tryouts for sports where they have 50 people show up to tryouts, and sometimes we have tryouts and we literally just have enough to form a team. So the fact that we can go and compete, and play games against these schools, but not just play against them, but give them games and in some cases beat them.
What sport are you talking about right now, football or?
I mean, in every sport, we're usually shorthanded, In football, I remember my freshman year in football, we had 15 people come to try out, and for football CISA, you need 15 people to go to CISA. And I heard a story of, I think it was Moscow, that year they had maybe 60 people try out for high school football, which is 4 times as much as we had. And first game, we beat them 4-2.
Okay. Well, I think your basketball team is formed well right now, like you have enough.
Yeah, this year we've got a really strong varsity team. We've got also a really good JV team that I think are going to be playing at our CISA tournament. And it's really good to see that Kozak basketball is developing, moving forward. Not just with our varsity team, but with our JV team. It's important to get younger guys involved, game time to develop.
Mm-hmm. And is it a big deal for you to be a captain? Does it create any pressure on you, or it makes you feel even better?
I think it just drives me more, I think the best way to lead is to lead by example. So all you have to do is go out, set the example, set the tone, and if you're a good leader and if people look up to you as the captain or whatever the title is, they'll follow your lead, So your job is to go out, play your hardest, and then get the people around you to do so as well.
Let's move away from the area of basketball. We will return to that later, but I wanted to talk to you about the fact that this year you chose to become a member of STUCO, and except of the motivation that it is useful for college or university, Were there other reasons why you decided to make this step?
So our secondary, our STUCO, the student government for high school, it was really appealing to me. Not just STUCO, but also this year I joined the yearbook team. Both were really appealing to me because it's my final year in KIS. It's my final year in high school as I'm a senior. So really my motivation to join both STUCO and yearbook were I want our yearbook to be the best possible yearbook for my final year, so I can look back on my senior year yearbook and be like, yeah, that's a lit yearbook, and then look back on STUCO events and be like, those events were a blast. I want to look back on every moment of this year and be able to smile and think of all the great memories that were created, and part of that is like school events. That I wanted to create the best school events for my final year.
How do you feel? What is the premier goal of STUCO? Is it like organizing events or like doing changes inside KS?
I think in the past, STUCO has been a lot about simply just organizing school events, but this year I feel like STUCO has done a really good job, especially during football season, to kind of build a community behind our sports teams. What we talked about at some of our first initial STUCO meetings were let's build up some hype behind some sports games so people come out and they watch them and we get crowds out, because going to a sports game is so much more than just watching a team play. It's about the atmosphere, it's about the whole community, the vibes behind it. And this year at STUCO we really wanted to focus on bringing that, building, or at least starting to build a community behind our sports and through our sports. So I think we've done a great job in that, and I hope moving forward, basketball, we've been getting some great crowds out at regular season games, and then of course CISA is here, so I hope we really start to build that sense of community and unity.
And what's your plan? Like, what specific steps are you planning to make to build those communities behind sports?
I personally believe you come to one basketball game this year, and I can go. I feel confident enough to say this, that if I can go to any person and convince them to come to one game, that they will come to every other one after that, because our basketball games are a blast. We've got food, we've got music in the gyms. You know the kids who are on the court. You at least you've seen them in the hallway, but most of them you'll know personally, because we are such a small high school and it's such a tight community. So you come to one basketball game, I can guarantee you'll come to the rest. And I think going back to your question, that you start with a few, you build it, and by the end of it, the whole high school will be there. And maybe that's not this year, but at least we started it this year, and then in future years, for whoever's wearing the Kozak uniform, they'll have a huge crowd behind them.
And I know that every time STUCO is bringing up the information to the rest of the community, you also always mention that the suggestions for the changings are welcome, and you'll be looking at them and perhaps making changes. Is it working that way right now, or do you have those suggestions that come to you all the time?
Yeah, for sure. I think people always have, I wouldn't say suggestions, I would say a lot of times they have criticisms, but I think all criticism can be taken as a positive, because you can take that and you can build on it. You can create events that next time won't have those things that cause people to criticize them. And I think moving forward, the more criticism we get, or the more suggestions we get, the better, because we can build on it and we can perfect our events.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Have you decided where to go next year? What's your plan?
No. Actually, I forgot at the beginning you asked me what questions I would cut out. That is one of them. Every day at home, a family member is either texting me, calling me, or my family at home are asking me about where do I want to go next year, what's my plan. I got no idea, man.
So perhaps taking a gap year, or you have absolutely no ideas, never thought about it?
Of course I've thought about it. I've applied quite a few places. My dream is to play soccer some places, so I have a list of 3 or 4 schools, of soccer schools that are they're on my list. after basketball season was over, I'll really focus down and pick one. And maybe one day you can catch me on Instagram Live for a little commitment post.
So you're actually planning to continue with the sports after you graduate from KS, and like I don't know, I'm asking you, is it like possible in the uni to combine both basketball and football? Let's say.
Of course. You know, I would go initially for football, but if there were tryouts or if there was some way to show out my basketball skill to see if I could play, I would do so. You know, I love both sports. I think I'm a little more talented football-wise but I think if I got the chance to play basketball, I would take it.
I think if I asked this question before, you would not be able to give an answer. But now, when it's only a month before CISA tournament, in what condition do you think is the team right now? And you have a lot of games played often. Like, how do they impact on your condition?
We've had a great start to the season. You know, we're undefeated so far, which is good. We've played some close games, some not close games. I think we're in the right position right now. You know, we've got all the pieces. You know, but we gotta continue to work hard during practices, during games. You know, we gotta keep mentally strong. We gotta always be hungry to get better, and hungry to work hard. And yeah, I think we're in good position right now.
And I think Chicago will show a lot.
Yeah, for the guys going there, it's going to be a great experience. You know, I hope none of them get dunked on, because that could end some careers. But I hope the guys going there will learn a lot, and it will be good for them because you know, none of the seniors are going on that trip, so it will be good for them they'll develop their own sense of leadership and take on a lot more responsibility in those games. So hopefully when they come back, they're gonna be leaders. They're gonna be better basketball players, and combine that with our senior group, and we should be flying in towards CISA with good chances.
And from the games that I saw, like this week and last week as well, like I can say that the difference between your team and the teams you play are like huge. Like you're much better than them. Do you think it's actually useful to play with teams like that? And if yes, then why?
I mean, I think in whatever game you play in, you can take positives and negatives from it. You know, of course, at this point, it's better for us to be playing the best competition possible. You know, at this point, we actually want to be losing games to get better. We want to be playing guys that are 5 times better than us, so that we can play to their level, you know, eventually. However, I think you gotta play all sets of teams, you know, and when we play against small teams, some things that we gotta focus on is keeping the intensity no matter who we're playing, you know, no matter who the opposition is in front of you, you can't worry about them. You gotta worry about yourself, and as long as you go out there and give your hardest and keep the intensity up, that's all you can ask for. And I believe with our team, if we play every single game at CISA with intensity and to the best of our ability, we can 100% go far.
Mm-hmm. Well, the game on Wednesday was pretty intense.
That was a crazy game. That is probably the wildest I've ever seen our gym before since I've been in high school. It was crazy, you know, the last minute shot. It was just back and forth, and that's what I'm saying. That's what I was saying in the beginning. I think any single person that went to one of those games is for sure coming back this year to go to another one, because that game sums up sport. You know, it's you got highs, you got lows, there's intensity, there's heated moments out there, there's bad calls. That's all what sport is about, you know, and that's why people come out.
And I know that you're in high school basketball since freshman year, and due to your experience, what do you think was the strongest team, like on which year this year?
I think this year we have everything. We have all the pieces. We've got to use a little bit of a chess analogy, you know, we've got our kings, we've got our queens, we've got knights, you know, and we've got pawns, we've got everyone, you know.
I wonder who the queen is.
I'll take queen, you know. Queen's quite a lethal piece in chess. I lose it quite often though, but we've got all the pieces, and the thing about chess is you start with all the pieces, but it's how you end with all, like whether you end with all the pieces or not, you know. And I think moving forward, we gotta set out our goal to end with as many pieces as possible. We've gotta set out CISA with the right tactics, with the right intensity, and then by the end of it, we'll be there.
So let's hope that all the pieces will come together at once.
Well, the thing about chess, you gotta sacrifice. Unless you gotta sacrifice some pieces, you know. But towards the end, we'll be good. That was a bad analogy. I'm sorry.
Okay, you as a senior, is there any legacy that you really want to leave after yourself? Like, do you think that you've done something very significant and that would make future KS community to say, that's how both Feekins did that?
I think the best way to leave a legacy behind is by doing something no one else has ever done before, you know? And so winning. I think we've come so far. We've reached finals in football. You know, we've done it all, and I think there's been a history of great Kozak athletes, you know, but no Kozak athlete has ever been in a championship game and come off as the winner. And I think as it's my last basketball CISA, that is what I hope we can do, you know, because not necessarily about myself, but I hope people will look back on our basketball team, on Kozak basketball 2018, 2019 and say, yeah, that's the team that won the high school boys' first ever championship, CISA championship.
And what is the #1 advice that you would give to the middle schoolers, like upcoming rookies for your team?
I think just keep working hard, you know. We've got great program in high school. We've got, you know, good varsity team, good JV team, good coaches on both varsity and JV teams. And I think for middle school, the most important thing is when they come up, they got to continue to play the game. They got to continue to work hard, you know. And if you've been playing middle school basketball for quite some time, then you're already a Kozak, you know. If you've been playing, whether you've been playing for 1 month, whether you've been at school for 1 month or 12 years, you know, you are a Kozak no matter what. And what's important is that when you come into high school, you keep that and you build on it.
Mm-hmm. So, Bo, here is your camera, and now you have an opportunity to address your teammates, your coaches. What would you like to say to them?
This is it, you know. This is the last CISA tournament we'll play for the seniors. For the coaches, you know, this is probably the last CISA tournament they'll coach at home. And for the younger players, you know, I believe this is the greatest team we've had in Kozak basketball. So let's go out there, let's do our best, let's give our all, and hopefully we'll look back on this interview and you'll say, yeah, that's the time Bo Feekins called it. But knock on wood, let's go win a championship.
This was a captain of a high school boys basketball team, Bo Feekins. Thank you.